I don't think I'm being particularly biased, but I mean, if it's the right thing to do, U-turn is still a very pejorative term. U-turn carries a sense that it is the wrong thing to do, or that it is a sign of weakness. I guess it's that old adage, isn't it, about, well, it's not an adage, it should be, might be by the end of today's show. It's the frequency with which you U-turn that speaks to the nature of the U-turner. One or two U-turns, I think, are a good idea. There is, after all, no point having a mind if you never change it. So I thought Javid would come in and actually say, no, we can't risk losing 40,000 people. But he didn't, probably because he was quite new in the job and he didn't want his very first act as Secretary of State for Health to be a U-turn, a rollover, an abandonment of a policy that is designed to promote health. So what we've got now is a government endorsing something, introducing something that they know is bad for the health of the nation. The optimal path is for there to be no unvaccinated people in the NHS. So if you know, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, but be clear what the perfect is. The optimal path would be for there to be no unvaccinated people in the NHS. And the government have abandoned that because their job really is to go down the least bad option, and they have decided, and we turned this into a phone-in some weeks ago, I don't know if you remember, who would you rather looked after your mum? Nobody, or an unvaccinated healthcare assistant. And it wasn't 100% either way, was it? I dread to suggest it was 52-48, but it was pretty close. It was pretty close. And we're back there today. 14 minutes after 10 is the time. 0345 6060 973. Oh, please stop calling it coronavirus. It's been referred to as COVID-19 since about April 2020. You sound so ridiculous. I'm so sorry. I had no idea that I was sounding ridiculous simply by saying I shall change my ways immediately. I shall undertake a U-turn. Thank you to your angry-sounding text. COVID-19, brackets, Delta, brackets, Omicron, brackets. So I don't know what you think about this, and I don't think it should be a fight. I may be wrong about the second bit, but there's no earthly way that 80,000 people are deliberately trying to sabotage the healthcare of patients in the NHS. I obviously think that they're wrong and that they've made a mistake and that the people that they've listened to are not good actors. Some of them very bad actors. But we are where we are. And you can't legislate for a perfect world. You have to legislate for the world in which you live. And there are problems in how the government has ducked, I think, the responsibility of getting the messaging out there, approaching some of these issues more directly. I think the media has probably, I could be wrong, I think the media has probably given too much time and space to people spouting nonsense. I see Neil Young has picked a fight with Spotify. Neil Young and Joni Mitchell, both of whom, you know, had polio as children before the vaccination became worldwide. And they furious about a podcast on Spotify, but a very, very, very popular podcast, actually. I did a double take at some of the numbers, but that apparently has spouted quite a lot of anti-vax rhetoric and hosted anti-vax guests, and Joni Mitchell and Neil Young both seeking to withdraw their music from Spotify in protest at that. So we know the media has provided a lot of time and space to people punting largely science-free ideas, so that's probably part of it as well. But I think that and you can disagree with me about this if you want, but I'd be surprised if you do, to be honest. Sajid Javid's job is to deal with what is in front of him, not what he wishes was in front of him. And therefore, the U-turn on mandatory jabs for the NHS workers is the right thing to do.